Good morning, class. This is a strange welcome and beginning to the GESM or General Seminar Course 111, which is Stages of Healing. I'm really grateful that my colleague and friend Zach Steele has made his time available to welcome you in person. I'm sorry I can't be there. I am actually, as we're speaking, I am on a plane to New York. I'll be doing a workshop at Columbia for this week. It was unavoidable. I'm so sorry I missed you. I don't intend to be gone a lot this semester. So by way of introduction, my name is Brent Blair. I usually prefer people call me Brent. My pronouns of preference are he and him. And my reason for being here is to invite all of you to go on a journey with me into the world of theater and therapy. I'm here to teach, to learn, to listen from you. I'm hoping that we'll have an engaged and valuable time. At this point, I want to invite my colleague Zach to pause this recording for a moment. And if you could all just go around the room and introduce yourselves very briefly by your name, your preferred gender pronoun, like he, him, she, her, they, them, or whatever other pronoun you prefer to use. And then say something about what your degree or your focus is at USC and why you have taken this class. It may be, it fit into my schedule. That's fine. It was the only class available. That's also fine. If that's the case, then maybe say something about what your fantasy is of what you hope to get out of this class. So, cue number one, let's pause it now and go around the room and just, if you would quickly say who you are and a little bit about yourselves. Thanks. Okay, that was fun. You're back. I hope you got to hear some interesting things from your colleagues and your friends. And I hope that you will consider this class to be a sort of a home away from home while we're all here. So a little about the course, Stages of Healing. And I guess something about what the course is, and then I think what the course is not. I believe this course is an opportunity to look at the global overview of the practice of theater and therapy. So first, we have to explore what theater is and what therapy is, and to look at the roots of those words, to find out how the two intersected in the world, drama therapy, psychodrama, all of that, and then art as therapy, theater as therapy, spoken word as therapy. And in my colleague's case, who's sitting with you today, Zach, you may have already learned that he is a medical clown, and maybe you could take a moment to ask him a little bit about medical clowning at the end of this unit online. So therapy and the intersection of the arts, the global overview of its practice. We'll look at India, we'll look at Africa, we'll look at Europe, we'll look at other places around the world. These are all places where I have colleagues who are actually doing this work, and most of the places are places I've been, and I've also participated in the work. And then lastly, I'd say it's a gentle invitation for each of you to explore your own relationship to yourself or your identity as a performative event. How did you learn to perform who you are in the world, how you appear, how you want people to think about you, how you don't want people to think about you? Right now, apparently I want you to think I'm academic because I have these glasses on and I'm doing this in my office with books behind me. I could be doing this on a playground with a lot of children and take my glasses off and shake my head and just sing songs. And that might give you a different impression of who I am. I hope that I don't sing for you right now. So performance of self as a structured system of survival, how we learned to perform different aspects of ourselves to save our lives, and how we learn to hide certain aspects of ourselves to protect our lives. So I'm thinking that this will be an invitation for all of you to explore a little bit about yourself as a structured system, who you are, especially your difficulties, which we'll call ruptures. Your difficulties or your challenges or your issues or your ruptures that helped inform what you're comfortable saying to other people, what you're not comfortable saying to other people. So that's my hope. There is a performative opportunity at the end of the class, at the end in April, for all of you to share a 5-minute version, including some either spoken word or found poetry or written poetry, some music that either you sing or you play on a device underneath your 5 minutes, a little bit of storytelling about some difficult aspects of your life and some healing that you found. We'll talk much more in this class about that opportunity, but I just want you to know that the class culminates in a shared, humanizing, performative event, followed by a reflection paper about that event. Okay. What else is important to say about the class? The class is not, what is the class not? I'd say the class is not therapy. So I hope that it can be therapeutic for many of us. I am a trained therapist, but my intention is not to turn this class into a circle conversation about problems and issues with an intent of collectively solving them. It is a class that I hope will open your eyes to how to see difficulties and how to engage with them, but it's not therapy. It's also not a performance class. So while you will be invited at the end of the semester to do a performative event for 5 minutes, you are not going to be trained as an actor. There won't be a lot of time spent in class teaching you about performance skills. We will play a lot of theater games to unravel tensions that we might have and to have fun. But it's not a performance class either. So it's not therapy. It's not a performance class. And I hope it's not just an academic class where we're going to sit and read books and talk at this table for the whole semester. We have a breakout room just down the hallway in MCC 108, which we'll use occasionally on Thursdays, I think, to get up off our feet and play games, because this really big table that divides us all right now is really hard to play games on. It's an exploration of theater and therapy. It's a global overview of the practice, and it's an invitation for you to explore the performance of self. It's not therapy. It's not a performance class, and it's not an academic-only class. Now, let me get to the nuts and bolts so that, it's all in the syllabus, but I just think it's worth stating out loud. You are invited to read some material every week. And even this week, you're asked to read a little bit from Jacques Derrida. It's the way we start out this class. I just thought we'd start a little academic stuff. Structure, sign, and play. And then there's some prompts on Blackboard that ask you to respond in a certain way. And so you won't meet on Thursday. Today is your only meeting this week. On Thursday, you will be asked to respond online and upload your homework, and I will look at your homework and give you some feedback. So Thursday's class is not happening. I'll look at there'll be a video also for you to watch, which would occupy the time that you would ordinarily be together with me in class. And then next week, we're back on track. So this is the only class right this week that you'll be live and in person, and for 1 hour only today, Tuesday. And then Thursday, you guys are independently working, and then we'll see you again the following Tuesday. Right. Having said that, that's Tuesday, January 21st. That's when we're all back together. Having said that, weekly assignments are required to be accompanied by a weekly reflection on the assignment. So it's a short half-page to a page reflection on the assignment. There's instructions on how to do that in the syllabus, especially instructions on how to name the document that you're going to upload to Blackboard. That's really specific languaging. It starts with your last name, followed by a period, followed by the title of the assignment, like Derrida might be the first week, followed by another period, and then followed by whatever document file is. It's a docx. The only files that are accepted in this protocol are Word documents. So no pages, no PDFs, only Word. That's so that I can do track changes on my computer and respond to you without having to waste paper and print stuff out. So, and I've forgotten one of the pieces. There's the 2-digit number of the week of the assignment. So it's like 01.Blair, my last name, .Derrida.docx. And that'll be how I submit my assignment to myself, which would be weird. So you're asked to respond weekly to assignments. There are 2 serious papers, 5 pages each, that are research papers. And there's one midterm, which is a take-home midterm. So you get a week to do it. You can refer to all your notes and write as much as you want or as little as you want. And that you pick up online and you respond online. That's pretty much it. I hope that we can have a really valuable conversation and an important conversation. So I want to thank my colleague, Zach Steele, for hosting this first event. And I want to leave you all now with a little prompt to promote a short discussion for day number 1 around the table, just to get to know each other. And then I'm gonna come back to you on the 21st in person, and we'll start looking at deeper issues as we get to know each other better. So my question for day 1 is, Derrida in the reading this Thursday, which you'll read, talks about constructs or structures, that society puts together. For example, ideas about gender. Gender is a really big idea. Some people, it's really important that they know male, this is male, and that's female. This color is for boys, boy babies, and this color is for girl babies. My 10-year-old son is pretty gender fluid, and he's always rejected the idea of gender specificity. And even though he uses he and him pronouns, he's not really a big fan of that gender identity. He wears dresses sometimes to school. He wears pants sometimes, depending on what his mood is. So it can cause some difficulty, some heart heaviness. It could cause a burden if you grow up in a society that has a structure, but that your own identity doesn't fit into that structure, right? For example, as myself, an LGBTQ identified person, growing up in a very heterosexual structure, I didn't always fit into that structure. So that caused a certain amount of tension between how I saw myself, my identity, and how the world saw right and wrong. And so my identity didn't fit into their picture, and there was this great conflict. The conflict manifests itself a lot of times in symptoms like sadness or depression, depressive disorder. It can manifest in anxiety. It can manifest itself in a kind of a mania or a hyperenthusiasm, followed by a crash or a deep depression, which is known as bipolar disorder. It can manifest itself in all kinds of neural pathways that is our brain trying to fit into a system, but our heart knowing it needs to go another way. So with that in mind, I want to pause this recording one more time and invite you to turn to a completely unknown person next to you. And you don't have to reveal deep, dark secrets at all. It's too early in the class for that. But maybe just talk about, since coming to USC, right? What are some structures around college life and college expectations, being a student, that might push up against your own heart's desire or your own personal experience? Is there any tension that you experience between your outside world, a face you have to put on to look a certain way, smile, be a certain thing? This could involve race or class or gender. Maybe you're not rich, but you feel like you have to wear some kind of rich clothing to fit in at USC, if that's the case. Or for women in the room, there's always this pressure from a heteronormative and male-dominated culture about how women should or shouldn't look, and maybe you say, to hell with that, I don't care about that, or maybe it is an issue for you. Maybe you feel like you have to dress more conservatively so that guys don't objectify you or people don't objectify you. Men, similarly, maybe there's a certain kind of masculinity that you feel like you have to portray or to sound like, or anyway, all of you are probably walking around USC with some structures that don't match your insides. So I wonder if we could pause the recording and you could take 5 minutes or so to turn to your neighbor, turn to somebody, and talk about the tension between your outsides and your insides, just being here at USC. And with this, we'll pause this recording. You guys will have a quick conversation with each other. And after 5 minutes, I'm going to invite my colleague, Zach, to ask you in the group who feels comfortable to do a general share in the larger group, right? So pause number 2 right now. So you had a long conversation with a partner. I hope you got to know them. I hope you got to know their names. And you might have heard a couple of people share around the table about this tension between, their inner and their outer selves. We'll be looking a lot at how art can help build a bridge between these two worlds. And we'll also look at social structures that either help or don't help so much. I hope that's your experience. And lastly, as I sign off here, maybe a final conversation for you to have as a class is, what are the socio-political structures in our world right now happening, currently as we live, that you think may be putting some people in psychological harm or jeopardy? Like maybe not making people feel so good about themselves. In what ways, for example, is the United States as a structure not helping people feel healthy and whole human beings? Or what way has our institution, our governance, our capitalist economic system, or our entertainment values, what we see on TV and film, our values in general as a culture, in what ways have our cultural values and political norms maybe caused more difficulties or ruptures? And how do you imagine art might intersect with these, or interfere, or even make a difference? That's a tall order. Last little conversation to have. Enjoy the conversation, enjoy each other, and I can't wait to meet all of you when I come back. Enjoy the conversation with Zach. He has to leave before 11, so please take the rest of the time to enjoy USC, go take a tour, and then on Thursday I'll give you a different assignment. So until then, until the 21st, I will see you all later. Bye-bye.